Ashley Howard with Ashley Howard Teaches, and I'm so excited to bring to you CC Cycle 3, Week 6, 5th edition. So we are doing tutor plans, we are doing review games, we are doing fine arts review. So it's going to be a great week, and I can't wait to share everything with you. So don't forget to stay around to the very end. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe and that like button, because I will be bringing CC tutor plans each and every week to you. So don't forget to subscribe. All right, so for math this week, we're going to be doing 11s and 12s. Now, I have this free printable in my description below, so don't forget to check that out. And I also have recommendations for laminators, for class supplies. So I'll have all that and anything I talk about in this video. The links will be down below so that you don't have to write anything down. They're all ready for you. All right, so for 11s, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by pointing to 11s. So like I've done before, I like to put a little sticker on their finger. They get to point to their 11s as they go down. All right, so after that, we're gonna play a game of leapfrog. So they're gonna say their 11s as they leapfrog over each other. So much fun. Now for the little bit older ages, where maybe that's not a good idea and it may be too crazy and too rambunctious, I'll have the students pair up and they'll stand across from each other and they can bounce a ball as they say their 11s to each other, or even throw it and catch it. Now, if it gets a little crazy, what I like to do is we say them together. So we say 11 and we throw them and they all catch them, and then we do the next one. So that one is really fun. You can also have them sit down in groups of 3, and then they can pass the ball around as they say their 11s, and they all get to race each other as teams. So that's a fun way to put in a little competition, but learning their 11s as well. All right, so that is our 11s. Let's move on to 12s. All right, so for 12, so we're gonna do is I'm gonna get these giant Jenga blocks out. Now, one of my sisters was so nice to make these, and these are really cool. These are great for a gift for Christmas, by the way. So what she did is write little questions on there for you to ask each other while you do Jenga. So that was kind of that's just an extra in there for you for an extra Christmas idea. But these are really fun. They're bigger, and I will link them down below. They're fun for at home as well. But as they do their 12s, they're gonna stack them up, and then we'll see if they fall down. So we're gonna do our 12s. They're really big, so they can stack them really tall, so it makes it really fun. So as they say their 12s, they each get one and get to put one on top. All right, so that is our 12s. It works for the older kids too, because it's kind of fun. Also split them up into 2 teams, and each gets half the blocks, and they try to see who can build the tallest tower and say the 12s, but not letting it fall down. So that's kind of an alternate way to make it really fun as well. All right, so that is our math this week. Let's move on to history. All right, so for history this week, we're talking about the Louisiana Purchase. All right, so we're gonna start with 1803, and we're gonna put 3 fingers out like this. And then for purchase, we're gonna get our money out like this, and we're gonna throw our money like this. And then for Louisiana, we're gonna make our big L like this. And then for France, we're gonna jump over to this side, and we're gonna make the shape of France with our hands. Alternately, you can sign F. Then for westward, we're gonna make a big W like this. And then for exploration, we're gonna bend our knees and go like this all the way around the room. And then for Lewis and Clark, we're gonna go Lewis and Clark. And then for Davy Crockett, we're gonna put our coonskin hat on, and we're gonna bend our knees like this and say Davy Crockett. So that's our hand motions today for history. All right, so for the older kids, what I like to do is have them pick out an athletic activity. So they might do jumping jacks, they might do push-ups. So I'll just go around the room and I'll say, okay, what would you like to do? And they'll go through and we'll do our to-do. It's a really fast one, so it's really easy to get through that 7 times. All right, so let's move on to science. All right, so for science this week, we're talking about parts of the digestive system. So we'll do it to the tune of Oh My Darling. So it goes something like this. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, liver, small intestines, large intestines. So we'll go through and they'll say, what are some parts of the digestive system? So it kind of doesn't, but just make it fun and make it work. All right, so after we do that, as we do that, we'll point to our different parts. So we'll go mouth, esophagus, and we get to go through that way. So that's a really easy one, really fun. All right, so that is our science this week. All right, so let's move on to Latin. All right, so for Latin this week, we're talking about nouns. All right, so as we go through, we're gonna do some hand motions. So for word, we're gonna just sign W. And then for God, we're going to point up. And then for beginning, we're gonna make a B like this. And then for all, we're going to do like this And then for nothing, we're gonna make an X with our arms like this and go down. So those are our hand motions for our Latin. All right, so Latin is typically the hardest subject for me. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments below which one is the hardest for you, especially with the wordiness with the younger ones, a little bit harder. So we're gonna start with animals. I'm gonna pick out animals, and I might have just figures of animals, or I might just pull them out of a paper, but we're gonna do okay, and I get really excited about it, really animated about it. That way they're excited about it. Okay, now we're gonna act like an elephant. Where, okay, get your trunks out. Where, boom, word. And we're gonna go through like that. And then for cheetah, we're gonna go really fast. And so we're gonna do all of these, but make it super exciting as we do animals as we go along. It makes it fun if you have printouts of little animals and they can pull them out. Or alternately, you can hide little pictures of animals all over the room, and each student sits there really nicely and they get to go find an animal, and then we get to act out that animal as we're doing our Latin. So that's a really fun way to do it. All right, and so for older kids, what I found works great is just to print out each word, the Latin and the English, divide into 2 or 3 teams, and have them put those together and race each other. They love it, it's competition, they wanna do it, and they're excited about it. So I love them getting excited about learning and getting excited about Latin. All right, so that is our Latin for this week. Let's move on to geography. Now, if you haven't been here before, I have a great song that I use every time this cycle comes around. It's so good, so I will leave that down below. It goes through each week of the states and capitals, and that one is so good, and I love that so much. Also, a really neat game that I've mentioned before for review, and this isn't the only review game idea I'll give today. So one that you might have not heard about before that I mentioned in a previous video was doing USA Bingo, and I'll leave that link down below. That one's really fun. They get to do, you go talk about states and capitals as you go along. So you're integrating their learning with their review games. So it's so good, and then you just bring some little prizes and they have fun with that. All right, so that is our geography. It's time for fine arts. All right, so for our fine arts, I have so many good ideas for you, and they all come not from me, but from art projects for kids. So if you go to them and you go to the drawing lessons and you go to fall, they'll show you different projects that you can do. I would go to the fall one. You can find all these cute projects. Now, before I start, I like to kind of go back and do like a quick review. That's not their favorite part. They love to do the art, so I like to make it quick. But we'll go through, we'll talk about oils, we'll talk about upside down drawings, what we learned, we'll talk about horizon lines and vanishing points, we'll talk about our perspective drawings and what we learned from those, and then we'll go through and we'll pick one to do together. I love doing this pumpkin one together. It's so sweet, so easy, and great for fall time. So this one is on there, and you'll see that on Art Projects for Kids. I'll leave it linked down below as well. All right, so this is a great one to do as a class. And then after that, I like to give them their choice. Sometimes it just depends on the class. Sometimes they like to do it independently. Sometimes we work on one to get all together as a class also. And of course we have our classical music playing, and so it's so fun and so beautiful and such a good time. So I think here's some different projects. Here's a fox that you can work on, and they all turn out so beautiful and so different. Here's one, a farm scene, so you can talk about perspective and how as things got farther away, they get smaller, and you can talk about your horizon line. There's so many different great things. So here's this project completed. So that's what something it can look like. So you can show them both. This is what it can look like at the end. All right, so here's another one. Here's one for a little bit older. Here's kind of like a grid tree. They make little grid marks, and they have fun with that and make it super colorful and use their emotions, and you can talk about abstract art too. So there's some great projects on there. It's great for your homeschool at home too. So that is our fine arts. We're wrapping everything up for the final week. Don't be intimidated that there's not like this plan for this week, because it's so fun to just introduce all these other different topics, all these same topics again, and kind of review them and do all these different fun projects. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Now for our review game this week. I'm so excited. This is an old one, but I love it, and I just brought a brand new set. So let me show you that real quick. All right, so for my review game this week, it is Jenga. Now this one is great. I'll leave a link down below. I just got it in from Amazon. So good. And what I love about these is you can either use it as it is, and then they just pull one out as they do review, Or also, I've seen people do this, and I've done this in the past. I haven't done this lately, but you can write the review question or just the week and the subject. That way you make sure you get all of them in. It's a good way to do that because if you have all of them listed, then you can do it that way. But I kind of like just to ask my own questions, and then they get to pull one out. So that's a really fun one. I love to do Jenga. And like I said before, I also love to do state bingo. That's such a fun one as well. All right, so I think that's the end of our week. Let me know, how many years have you been homeschooling? How many years have you been tutoring? And if you have any great wins this week or something that you would love to share that has worked really good for your class. I also have a new fun review game coming up next week, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing. I can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.